Sometime today, you did something embarrassing. Maybe you tripped on a step. Maybe you said, "You too," when the waiter said, "Enjoy your meal." Maybe your voice cracked in a meeting, and a small part of your brain has been replaying it ever since. Everyone saw that. Everyone noticed. Everyone remembers. In the year 2000, a psychologist at Cornell University published a study about that exact feeling. The experiment was so simple, it's almost funny. It was built around a T-shirt. The results gave the feeling a name. The name went into every psychology textbook on Earth. But the strangest number in that study is one almost nobody quotes. And by the end of this video, it will change what you think the lesson of this experiment is. Because the audience you performed for today, the one you're still thinking about, has a secret. The psychologist's name was Thomas Gilovich, and his weapon of choice was a T-shirt with a giant picture of Barry Manilow on it. Why Barry Manilow? Because Gilovich's team had tested it. For a college student in the year 2000, walking around in a Manilow shirt was close to the most embarrassing thing you could legally do on campus. Picture the scene: a hallway at Cornell. A student arrives for what they think is an ordinary study, and the experimenter hands them the shirt. Put this on. Now walk into that room. Inside the room, other students sitting at a table, filling out questionnaires, every one of them facing the door. The student walks in wearing Barry Manilow's face, stands there for a moment, and is called back out. Then comes the only question that matters. How many people in that room noticed your shirt? Still burning with embarrassment, the students estimated about half the room, nearly 50%. They could feel the eyes on them. Then Gilovich asked the people at the table. Fewer than 1 in 4 had noticed the shirt at all. The wearers expected roughly twice the attention they actually got. Gilovich called it the spotlight effect. We walk through life feeling a beam of attention on us that simply isn't there. But Gilovich wasn't finished, because the next version of the experiment produced a number so lopsided it's almost embarrassing for our whole species. He flipped the experiment. This time, students wore shirts they were proud of. Bob Marley, Martin Luther King Jr., Jerry Seinfeld. Shirts they believed would say something good about them. Once again, they walked into a room. Once again, they estimated who noticed. They guessed about 48%. The actual number, 8, not 48, 8%. Barely anyone had registered the shirt at all. And here's the finding that should follow you around. It doesn't matter whether you're ashamed or proud. The attention you're bracing for isn't there in either direction. Most people never notice. And the few who do, they move on within minutes. They have their own day to worry about. So why does the spotlight feel so real? Because of a simple, strange fact of consciousness. You are the only person who has been present for every second of your own life. Your own experience is so loud, so constant, so central, that your brain starts every social calculation from the inside, from the moment as you felt it, and then adjusts for other people's indifference. It just never adjusts enough. If that were the whole story, this would be a comforting little video. But Gilovich's lab found a second illusion, stacked on top of the first. And the second one is the reason knowing all this doesn't make the feeling go away. It's called the illusion of transparency. Not only do you believe people see what you do, you believe they can see what you feel. In one experiment, Gilovich's team lined up 15 cups of red liquid in front of each participant. 10 held something pleasant, 5 held something foul. The participants had to drink from all 15 on camera, keeping a perfectly straight face, while observers tried to spot the disgusting ones. The tasters were convinced their faces were giving them away. They estimated that about half the observers would catch them. In reality, most observers noticed nothing. The nervousness you're sure is visible. The awkwardness you're sure is radiating off you. The panic you're certain everyone in the meeting can see. From the inside, your feelings feel like a glass house. From the outside, almost none of it gets through. And this is where the spotlight quietly becomes expensive. It's the reason you didn't raise your hand, though half the room had the same question. The reason you skipped the gym, because beginners look silly and everyone watches. They don't. They're busy worrying about how they look. It's the reason people rehearse a 2-line phone call, stay seated at weddings, and lie awake at 2 a.m. reviewing a comment nobody else remembers. Now, here's where most explanations of the spotlight effect end. With advice you've already heard, nobody's thinking about you. Relax. Here's why that advice has never worked on you. You've heard "nobody cares" 100 times, and the feeling is still there, because the spotlight isn't a belief you can argue with, it's the default setting of a mind that experiences itself from the inside. Knowing about it doesn't switch it off, but there's something you can do with it. Flip the statistics, the same way Gilovich flipped the shirts. If the spotlight effect is universal, then every person you'll meet tomorrow is living under their own private beam. Which means every person you'll meet tomorrow feels watched, feels judged, and at the same time feels strangely unseen, because nobody is actually watching them either. Follow that logic to the end, and you arrive somewhere unexpected. Genuine attention, someone actually noticing another person, is the rarest resource in every room you walk into. And here's the detail that makes it work. People don't notice your shirt, your stumble, your shaky voice, but they vividly notice how you made them feel, because that's the one thing their own spotlight is pointed at. Nobody at that Cornell table could remember Barry Manilow. Every one of them would have remembered the person who asked about their questionnaire. You've spent years of energy managing an audience that was never really there. Almost nobody spends any energy on the audience that actually exists, the people around them, each waiting, mostly in vain, to be noticed. That's the real lesson hiding in the 8%. So tomorrow, you're going to do something slightly embarrassing. It's practically guaranteed. And your brain will do what it has always done, switch on the spotlight, point it at your face, and tell you the whole theater is watching. When it does, remember the shirt. Remember that the people you're performing for are each standing on their own stage, under their own beam, quietly convinced that you are watching them. The audience you've spent your life preparing for has never actually taken its seats. The theater is empty. And an empty theater isn't a sad thing, it's freedom. It means the question was never, "What will they think of me?" It was always, "What would you do if you knew that almost no one was watching?"